Oh, goody.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Zombies here again, and today we're back with another Marvel Snap video. So, we got an OTA today, but that is not actually directly what this video is about. This video is about some leaked changes that didn't end up making their way into the game directly via the update, but did accidentally sneak out through some patch notes in some of the other non-English regions. I think this was from Brazil, from what my chat told me. And there's some pretty interesting ones. So they concern 3 cards here: Doom, 2099, Selene, and Hela. Well, some of them are more interesting than the others, but let's talk about them real quick. Before we talk about the changes, I do want to mention what this does or does not mean. This has happened before, actually. This is not the first time something like this has happened. The most notable one I can remember was a long time ago, back when Destroy was one of the better decks in the game. A Venom nerf got leaked into the patch notes, and that's something that never ended up happening. So this doesn't mean these changes are guaranteed to happen. However, I think if they see a reason to make a change on any of these cards in the future, we already have an idea of an avenue they want to pursue for that type of change. So keep that in mind as we go through this. So the big one of the bunch is Dr. Doom 2099. And I do have some translations here to read through in terms of what they were thinking with these changes. The change itself involved making Dr. Doom go from a 4/2 to a 4/4, but would nerf the power output of his Doombots from 4/2 to 4/1. For the text for this one reads, with the US agent change from the last OTA, we knew we would have to keep an eye on Doom 2099 in the next few weeks. 2099 has been a card of big performance since its launch, sometimes among our strongest cards in terms of individual victories. Doom 2099's power was not an indicator to weaken the card, since a 4/1 or a 4/0 would make a ramp synergy with Ravonna possible. So we decided to centralize more power in Doom himself and weaken the Doombots. Honestly, and I'm not someone in the camp of like Doom is like a super nerf-worthy card right now, I think that would be a fine change that would leave the card still being fairly strong, but definitely shuffles around the power a little bit, so his lane is stronger, but the wide output of the Doombots is a little weaker. So kind of interesting. Maybe we'll see that in the future if this card continues to put up very high stats. I know this might come as a surprise to some of you because at least for me, I haven't seen a whole lot of Doom 2099 during most of this month, but that could be just as a result of being in the higher infinite population. I think this card is definitely more of a powerhouse across the wider player base, much like we've seen with Surtur in the past. You know, Surtur falls off at high infinite, people get bored of it, but it has been a powerhouse across the rest of the game. So that's something that could be going on here with Dr. Doom. Next up is Selene. Selene is the most interesting one of the bunch. Let me get up her translation here. So Selene, Green Goblin's best friend Selene, spent a lot of time competing with the Hood for spots in decks that aimed to flood the board, and it kept losing. This is somewhat lateral change, as the power that Selene is applying could be theoretically the same, but this execution will strengthen Selene, making it less important if the opponent doesn't end up playing their Selene card, or if they have Luke Cage to prevent the loss. What was the change to Selene? Selene would become a 1/1 that steals 2 power from your opponent's lowest power card and your lowest power card. So she would have 1/5 on the board. That seems like a massive change to this card. This would be a huge, huge, huge buff. Yeah, this if you want to make Selene a playable card, that is sure one heck of a way to do it. She would go from being one of the worst 1-drops to maybe one of the best overnight. So I'm very curious to see if that ends up making it into the game later on, because this card, it's no secret, it's needed help for a while, and that would sure be one way to help it. And then last, but I guess probably least, is Hela. This one's a bit boring. Hela had notes that she was being changed from a 6/9 to a 6/7, and what they said on that was Hela's update came in a bit hot. This was a known risk, as finding the best version of this deck is exactly the kind of thing players can do when the developers often can't. Reducing some of Hela's power should help position the deck where they would like it to be. And yeah, so they were gonna nerf Hela from a 6/9 to a 6/7, but that also ended up not happening. And yeah, that is those are all the changes that snuck into some of the notes going out worldwide. Again, these are not changes that are currently in the game, and there is no guarantee they're going to make them. But if these cards get changed in the future, I think we now have a pretty good idea of how they might want to go about doing that. In terms of the OTA thoughts overall, just as a quick thing to end on, I thought this OTA was fine. As a higher infinite player who was really sick of move bounce, I really like the nerfs to the move cards. I think a lot of the buffs are good but boring. Like they're cards that could use the buff, but I don't think the buff moves the needle on them a ton. But who knows? We've got some new ongoing cards coming in hot next month, so maybe we'll see that move the needle a little bit on things like Miss Marvel or Spectrum. But by and large, I don't expect the small buffs of this OTA to really change the metagame that much. But the move nerfs definitely will take that deck down a peg, even if it's still probably very, very good. But yeah, I think it was a decent OTA, but a little bit boring for the larger player base. And I think especially if they snuck in that Selene change, it probably would have gotten a lot more excitement. So who knows? Maybe they'll take a look at the community reaction to seeing these possible changes as a kind of way to see, hey, maybe we should do this next time or not. And yeah, so just wanted to get that information out there quickly. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, remember to like and subscribe and let me know what you think in the comments below. That's it for this one, though. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.